Dear soul who has found these words, this message comes to you not as a demand or urgent command, but as a gentle invitation to pause, breathe, and consider the deeper currents of your spiritual journey. Rather than claiming divine authority or creating false urgency, let us explore together what it means to be present to the sacred possibilities that each day offers. Recognizing your journey, you have traveled far to reach this moment. The path behind you holds both shadows and light, moments of doubt intertwined with glimpses of clarity. Perhaps you have experienced seasons of waiting, times when answers seemed elusive and your prayers felt like whispers lost in an endless sky. These experiences are not signs of abandonment, but rather the natural rhythms of a soul learning to trust in something greater than immediate understanding. Your struggles have not been in vain. Each challenge you have faced has contributed to the depth of your character, the strength of your spirit, and the wisdom that now guides your steps. The tears you have shed in solitude were not unwitnessed. They watered the seeds of compassion within you. The nights you spent questioning your purpose were not empty. They cleared space for new insights to emerge. The nature of divine timing. True spiritual growth rarely follows our preferred timeline. We often wish for immediate answers, instant healing, and swift resolution to our difficulties. Yet wisdom traditions across cultures remind us that the most profound transformations occur in their own season, much like a garden that blooms when conditions are right, rather than when we demand it to flower. Consider the metaphor of the seed buried in dark soil. From the seed's perspective, the darkness might seem like abandonment, yet it is precisely in this hidden place that the most crucial growth occurs. The roots must deepen before the shoot can emerge. The foundation must be solid before the visible growth can be sustained. Your current season, whatever it may be, is not a punishment or an oversight. It is a sacred pause, a time of preparation for what is to come. The apparent delays in your life may actually be divine timing, ensuring that you are fully ready to receive and handle what awaits you. Messages from the heart of existence. Rather than claiming that specific angels are commanding your immediate attention, let us consider that life itself is constantly offering us messages if we have eyes to see and ears to hear. These messages come not through dramatic pronouncements, but through the gentle whispers of intuition, the synchronicities that catch our attention, and the quiet knowing that arises in moments of stillness. Your heart has been preparing for something new. You may have felt stirrings of hope, moments when the heaviness you've carried seemed to lift slightly. These are not illusions, but genuine glimpses of the transformation that is already beginning within you. The shift you sense is not dependent on external circumstances changing first. It begins with your own readiness to embrace a new way of being. The revelation of hidden truths. Life has a way of revealing what needs to be seen when we are ready to perceive it clearly. The confusion you may have experienced, the sense that important information was being withheld from you, often reflects not external manipulation, but the natural process of understanding unfolding in its proper sequence. Truth reveals itself in layers. What seemed incomprehensible yesterday may become crystal clear tomorrow, not because the truth changed, but because your capacity to understand it has evolved. The people who may have seemed to work against your peace were often dealing with their own unresolved pain, their own limited understanding of how to love well. As you continue to grow in wisdom and compassion, you will likely find that many of the mysteries that once troubled you begin to resolve themselves. Relationships that seemed hopelessly damaged may find new pathways toward healing. Situations that appeared impossible may reveal previously hidden solutions. Your spiritual household. Your home, whether physical or metaphorical, is already a sacred space. It does not need to be blessed by external forces to become holy. It becomes holy through your intention, your presence, and your commitment to creating an environment where love can flourish. The surprising news that may be coming to your home is not a cosmic delivery, but rather your own awakening to the abundance that already surrounds you. When we shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of gratitude, we begin to notice gifts we had previously overlooked. When we move from fear to trust, we become available to opportunities that were always present. Your household, including your relationships, your creative endeavors, and your daily practices, is being prepared for expansion. This preparation happens not through external intervention, but through your own evolving consciousness. As you grow more aligned with your authentic self, everything in your environment begins to reflect this alignment. The transformation of relationships. Someone in your life may indeed be experiencing a change of heart regarding their relationship with you. This is not because cosmic forces are compelling them to act, but because genuine spiritual growth naturally leads to a desire for reconciliation and healing. When people hurt us, it is often because they are operating from their own unhealed wounds. As time passes and they continue their own spiritual journey, they may come to understand the impact of their actions more clearly. This understanding can lead to authentic remorse and a genuine desire to make amends. Whether or not such reconciliation occurs, your own healing does not depend on others' actions. Your worth is not determined by how others treat you, and your peace is not contingent on receiving apologies for past hurts. The most important relationship to heal is the one with yourself. The nature of true prophetic insight. Authentic spiritual guidance does not create fear or demand immediate compliance. It offers perspective, encouragement, and wisdom that helps us navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and peace. True prophetic insight invites us to consider new possibilities rather than commanding us to act without discernment. The stirrings you feel in your spirit are real and valid. They represent your own deep wisdom, recognizing that change is both possible and necessary. Trust these inner promptings, but allow them to guide you toward thoughtful action rather than reactive compliance. Your season of emergence. You are indeed entering a new season, but not because external forces are rearranging your circumstances. You are entering this season because you have done the inner work necessary to embrace a new way of being. The patience you have cultivated, the wisdom you have gained, and the compassion you have developed are now ready to express themselves in new ways. This emergence will likely be gradual rather than sudden. Like the dawn that slowly illuminates the landscape, your new season will unfold in its own time, revealing new possibilities and opportunities that align with your evolved consciousness. The practice of discernment. As you navigate this time of potential change, remember that healthy spiritual practice always includes discernment. Not every message that claims spiritual authority is authentic. Not every urgent call to action serves your highest good. Trust your own inner wisdom to distinguish between what resonates with truth and what merely creates emotional reaction. Authentic spiritual growth is often quiet and steady, rather than dramatic and urgent. It feels like coming home to yourself, rather than being swept away by external forces. It increases your sense of peace and clarity, rather than creating anxiety and confusion. The sacred present moment. Rather than focusing on what might be coming to your home tomorrow, consider what is already present in your life today. The sacred is not located in some future delivery, but in your capacity to recognize the holy in the ordinary, the divine in the mundane, and the miraculous in the present moment. Your life right now, with all its imperfections and incompleteness, is the perfect place for your spiritual growth to continue. You do not need to wait for external circumstances to change before you can begin living more fully, loving more deeply, and serving more authentically. The community of souls. You are not alone in your spiritual journey, though you may sometimes feel isolated. There is a vast community of souls who are also learning to trust, to love, and to serve. Some of these souls are visible to you, friends, family members, spiritual teachers, and fellow seekers. Others remain unseen, but are nonetheless real. The ancestors who have walked similar paths, the spiritual guides who offer subtle assistance, and the collective wisdom of all who have sought truth. This community does not communicate through dramatic pronouncements or urgent commands, but through the gentle resonance of shared understanding, the comfort of knowing you are not alone, and the encouragement that comes from witnessing others' courage in facing their own challenges. The preparation of your heart. If you are being prepared for anything, It is for a deeper experience of love. Love for yourself, love for others, and love for the sacred mystery that pervades all existence. This preparation does not require external validation or dramatic signs. It requires only your willingness to remain open, to stay present, and to trust in the goodness that underlies all existence. Your heart has been expanding through every experience you have had, even the difficult ones. Each challenge has increased your capacity for compassion. Each loss has deepened your appreciation for what remains. Each moment of confusion has strengthened your commitment to seeking clarity. The true message. The true message that is coming to your home is not delivered by cosmic mail, but emerges from your own deepening understanding of who you are and why you are here. It is the message of your own worth, your own beauty, your own capacity to contribute something meaningful to the world. This message does not require you to act urgently or fearfully. It invites you to act lovingly, wisely, and authentically. It does not promise to solve all your problems immediately, but offers you the tools to navigate whatever challenges arise with grace and wisdom. Your continuing journey. As you continue on your spiritual journey, remember that you are both the traveler and the destination. You are seeking to become more fully yourself, to express more completely the love that is your essence, and to serve more effectively the healing that the world needs. This journey does not end with the receipt of some final message or the arrival of some ultimate blessing. It continues with each choice you make to respond to life with love rather than fear, with wisdom rather than reactivity, with compassion rather than judgment. The invitation to trust. This message concludes not with a command, but with an invitation to trust in your own spiritual wisdom, to honor your own inner guidance, and to remember that you are deeply loved and supported by the very fabric of existence itself. The surprising news that is truly coming to your home is the news of your own awakening to the love that has always been present, the wisdom that has always been available, and the peace that has always been your birthright. This news arrives not through dramatic delivery, but through your own willingness to recognize and receive it. The deeper mysteries of spiritual awakening. As you stand at this threshold of understanding, it becomes important to recognize that spiritual awakening is not a destination, but a continuous process of becoming more authentically yourself. The journey you have embarked upon is ancient and timeless, walked by countless souls before you, and destined to be walked by countless more after you have completed your earthly sojourn. The mysteries that unfold as you deepen your spiritual practice are not secrets kept from you by some cosmic conspiracy, but rather truths that reveal themselves naturally as your consciousness expands to accommodate them. Like a flower that blooms when it has gathered sufficient light and nutrients, your understanding opens when you have cultivated the necessary awareness and prepared your heart to receive deeper wisdom. Consider the nature of spiritual growth as it mirrors the cycles of nature. Just as the earth experiences seasons of planting, growing, harvest, and rest, your spiritual life moves through similar rhythms. There are times of active seeking, periods of quiet integration, moments of abundant realization, and intervals of apparent dormancy that are actually times of deep, invisible preparation. The confusion you may have experienced in the past was not a sign of spiritual failure, but rather evidence of your soul's honest wrestling with profound questions. Confusion often precedes breakthrough, doubt often precedes deeper faith, and the dark night of the soul often precedes the dawn of greater understanding. Your struggles have been sacred work, even when they felt like meaningless suffering. The transformation of consciousness. What is happening in your spiritual life right now is fundamentally about the transformation of consciousness. This transformation is not something that happens to you from outside, but rather something that unfolds from within as you become more aligned with your true nature. The shifts you are experiencing are not random events, but expressions of a deeper intelligence working through your life. This intelligence is not separate from you, but is your own deepest essence, recognizing itself and beginning to express more fully. When you experience moments of clarity, peace, or unconditional love, you are not receiving these qualities from elsewhere, but remembering and embodying what you have always been beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. The process of remembering your true nature often involves a period of unlearning. You may find yourself questioning beliefs you once held dear, releasing attachments you thought were essential to your identity, and discovering that much of what you thought was solid and permanent was actually fluid and temporary. This dissolution is not destruction, but purification, not loss, but liberation. The sacred wound and its healing. Many spiritual traditions recognize that our deepest wounds often become gateways to our greatest gifts. The pain you have experienced, the betrayals you have endured, the losses you have suffered. These have not been meaningless accidents, but sacred wounds that have broken your heart open to greater compassion and wisdom. Your scars are not signs of weakness, but evidence of your courage to remain open to life despite its capacity to hurt you. Each time you chose to love again after being hurt, each time you found hope again after disappointment, each time you trusted again after betrayal, you were participating in the sacred work of healing not only your own wounds, but the wounds of the world. The healing that is occurring in your life now is not just personal, but universal. As you heal your own patterns of fear, resentment, and separation, you contribute to the healing of these patterns in the collective consciousness. Your individual awakening is part of a larger awakening that is occurring throughout humanity. The alchemy of spiritual practice. True spiritual practice is a form of alchemy, the transformation of base metal into gold, of suffering into wisdom, of separation into unity. This transformation requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to remain present with whatever arises in your experience, without immediately trying to fix, change, or escape it. The practices that serve you best are those that cultivate presence, compassion, and wisdom. These might include meditation, prayer, contemplation, service to others, creative expression, time in nature, or any activity that connects you more deeply with your authentic self and the sacred dimension of existence. The key to effective spiritual practice is consistency rather than intensity. Better to spend a few minutes each day in quiet reflection than to have occasional long sessions followed by periods of neglect. The daily commitment to showing up for your spiritual life, even when you don't feel inspired, gradually builds the foundation for deeper realizations. That's the community of practice. While spiritual growth is ultimately an individual journey, it is greatly supported by community. The people in your life who share your commitment to growth, truth, and love are not accidental presences, but soul companions who have chosen to walk this path with you. They reflect back to you your own light when you cannot see it, and offer support when the journey becomes challenging. This community extends beyond those who are physically present in your life to include spiritual teachers, authors, artists, and wisdom keepers whose words and examples have touched your heart. It includes the ancestors who have walked similar paths, and the future generations who will benefit from the healing work you are doing now. Even in moments when you feel most alone, you are held by this invisible community of souls who understand the challenges and joys of the spiritual path. Your struggles are not unique to you, but are part of the universal human experience of awakening to our true nature, while navigating the complexities of embodied existence. The integration of spiritual understanding. One of the most important aspects of spiritual growth is the integration of insights and realizations into daily life. It is one thing to have profound experiences during meditation or prayer. It is another thing entirely to carry that awareness into your relationships, your work, and your interactions with the world. True spiritual maturity is evidenced not by the dramatic nature of your experiences, but by the consistency of your compassion, the depth of your peace, and the authenticity of your love. It is shown in how you treat people who cannot benefit you, how you respond to criticism, and how you handle the mundane challenges of daily life. The integration process requires patience with yourself as you learn to embody your highest understanding even when circumstances are difficult. You will make mistakes, react from old patterns, and sometimes feel like you are moving backward rather than forward. This is normal and expected. It is part of the spiral nature of spiritual growth. The paradox of spiritual seeking. One of the great paradoxes of the spiritual path is that what you are seeking is already present within you. You are not trying to become someone other than who you are, but rather to uncover and express who you have always been beneath the layers of conditioning and fear. You are not searching for something outside yourself, but remembering something that has never been lost. This paradox can be frustrating for the mind that wants to achieve, accomplish, and acquire. The spiritual journey is not about adding something to yourself, but about removing the obstacles to the natural expression of your true nature. It is not about becoming worthy of love, but about recognizing that you are already worthy simply by virtue of your existence. The peace you seek is not a feeling you must manufacture, but a quality of being that emerges when you stop fighting with reality. The love you long for is not something you must earn, but something you can freely give and receive when you remove the barriers you have constructed around your heart. The rhythm of expansion and contraction. Spiritual growth follows a natural rhythm of expansion and contraction, opening and closing, integration and release. Periods of great insight and rapid development are often followed by times of apparent stagnation or even regression. This rhythm is not a sign of failure, but evidence of the natural process of growth. During expansive periods, you may feel connected to everything, clear about your purpose, and filled with energy for spiritual practice. These are times to embrace new learning, take on new challenges, and share your gifts with the world. However, it is important not to become attached to these peak experiences or to judge yourself when they inevitably give way to more ordinary states of consciousness. Contractive periods, though often uncomfortable, are equally important for spiritual development. These are times for rest, reflection, and integration. They allow you to digest the insights you have received and to build a more solid foundation for future growth. They teach you to find peace even when you are not feeling particularly spiritual or inspired. The service of awakening. As your spiritual understanding deepens, you will likely feel called to serve others in some way. This service may take many forms: teaching, healing, creating, caring for others, or simply being a presence of love and peace in the world. The specific form of service is less important than the intention behind it and the authenticity with which you offer it. True service arises naturally from a heart that has been opened by love and a mind that has been clarified by wisdom. It is not motivated by a desire to be seen as spiritual or to fulfill some external expectation, but by a genuine desire to contribute to the healing and awakening of the world. Your service may be quiet and unrecognized by others, or it may be public and widely acknowledged. The value of your contribution is not measured by its visibility, but by the love and consciousness you bring to it. Sometimes the most important service is simply being fully present with someone who is suffering, or offering a kind word to someone who is struggling. The continuous journey. The spiritual path is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. There is no final destination at which you arrive and then can rest in the certainty of having made it. Instead, there is a continuous deepening, an ongoing journey of discovery, and an ever-expanding capacity for love, wisdom, and service. This understanding can be both humbling and liberating. It is humbling because it means you will never reach a point where you have nothing left to learn or no room left to grow. It is liberating because it means you can relax into the process of becoming rather than striving towards some imagined state of perfection. Each day offers new opportunities to practice presence, to choose love over fear, to respond with wisdom rather than reactivity. Each interaction is a chance to embody your highest understanding and to contribute to the healing of the world. Each challenge is an invitation to deepen your trust in the intelligence and love that guides all existence. The gift of your presence. Perhaps the most profound gift you can offer to the world is your fully awakened presence. When you are genuinely present, not lost in thoughts about the past or worries about the future, not trying to be someone other than who you are, not defending yourself against life, you become a source of peace and healing for everyone you encounter. This presence is not something you must strain to achieve, but something you can simply allow to emerge as you release the habits of mind that keep you distracted and defended. It is your natural state, available to you in any moment you choose to return to it. Your presence has the power to transform not only your own experience, but the experience of others. When you are truly present with someone, you offer them the gift of being seen and accepted exactly as they are. This gift is rare and precious in a world where most people are distracted, defending, or trying to change others. The ultimate message. The ultimate message that is coming to your home is not delivered by any external messenger, but emerges from your own deepening recognition of the love that you are and the love that surrounds you always. This message is written not in words but in the very fabric of your being. It is spoken not in dramatic pronouncements, but in the quiet voice of your own heart. This message tells you that you are safe, that you are loved, that you belong to the universe as much as the stars belong to the sky. It reminds you that your life has meaning and purpose, that your struggles have not been in vain, and that your contributions to the world matter more than you may ever know. The surprising news that is truly coming to your home is the news of your own awakening to the truth that has always been present, but may have been obscured by the noise and confusion of daily life. This news arrives not through dramatic delivery, but through your own willingness to listen deeply, to look honestly, and to open your heart to the mystery of existence. You are safe, you are loved, you are exactly where you need to be. Trust in this truth and allow it to guide you gently into whatever comes next. The journey continues, and you are perfectly equipped for whatever lies ahead. The sacred architecture of your life. As you continue to unfold into your authentic self, it becomes clear that your life has a sacred architecture, a divine blueprint that has been guiding your experiences, relationships, and growth opportunities from the very beginning. This architecture is not imposed upon you from outside, but emerges from the deepest wisdom of your soul as it seeks to express itself fully in this earthly existence. Every experience you have had, every person you have encountered, every challenge you have faced, has been precisely what your soul needed for its evolution. This does not mean that everything has been easy or pleasant, but rather that everything has contributed to the masterpiece of consciousness that you are becoming. The difficult periods were not punishments, but intensive training programs designed to strengthen your capacity for love, wisdom, and compassion. The relationships in your life, both harmonious and challenging, have served as mirrors, reflecting back to you aspects of yourself that needed attention, healing, or development. The people who have loved you well have shown you your own capacity for receiving and giving love. Those who have hurt you have revealed wounds that needed healing and strengths you didn't know you possessed. Consider how your life story reads like a carefully crafted novel, with each chapter building upon the previous ones, developing themes of growth, resilience, and awakening. The plot twists that seemed random or cruel at the time now reveal themselves as necessary elements in your character development. The periods of apparent stagnation were actually times of deep, invisible preparation for the next phase of your journey. The mysteries of divine timing. One of the most profound aspects of spiritual life is the recognition of divine timing, the understanding that everything unfolds in perfect sequence, according to a wisdom far greater than our limited human perspective can comprehend. The delays you have experienced, the doors that seemed to close just as you approached them, the opportunities that slipped away at the last moment. These were not failures of the universe to support you, but expressions of a deeper intelligence, ensuring that you received what you needed when you were truly ready for it. Divine timing operates on principles that transcend our ordinary understanding of efficiency and immediate gratification. It considers not only what you desire, but what will serve your highest good. It takes into account not only your current readiness, but your long-term spiritual development. It orchestrates events not only for your individual benefit, but for the good of all those whose lives are interwoven with yours. The frustration you may have felt when things didn't happen according to your timeline was natural and understandable. The human mind prefers predictability and control, and it can be challenging to trust in a timing that we cannot see or understand. Yet, as you develop greater spiritual maturity, you begin to appreciate the wisdom of this divine timing and to trust that what is meant for you will come to you at exactly the right moment. This trust in divine timing does not lead to passivity or resignation, but to a different quality of action, one that is aligned with the natural flow of life rather than fighting against it. You learn to plant seeds with dedication while allowing the harvest to unfold in its own season. You learn to prepare diligently while remaining open to outcomes that may be different from what you expected, but perfectly suited to what you actually need. The evolution of consciousness. Your spiritual journey is not separate from the larger evolution of consciousness that is occurring throughout humanity, and indeed throughout the cosmos. You are participating in an ancient and ongoing process by which consciousness awakens to itself, recognizes its own nature, and learns to express itself more fully through individual beings like yourself. This evolution is not linear, but spiral, with each generation building upon the wisdom of previous generations, while adding new insights and understandings. The challenges facing humanity today, ecological crisis, social inequality, technological disruption, spiritual disconnection, are calling forth new levels of consciousness, new ways of being, and new solutions that honor both individual fulfillment and collective well-being. Your personal awakening contributes to this larger awakening. As you heal your own patterns of fear, separation, and unconsciousness, you help to heal these patterns in the collective consciousness. As you embody greater love, wisdom, and compassion, you make it easier for others to access these qualities within themselves. Your individual transformation is a gift not only to yourself, but to all of life. This understanding can bring both great purpose and great humility to your spiritual journey. You are not awakening for yourself alone, but as part of humanity's collective awakening. You are not seeking enlightenment as a personal achievement, but as a contribution to the healing and evolution of consciousness itself. The sacred feminine and masculine principles. Within every human being, regardless of biological gender, live both feminine and masculine principles that must be integrated for complete wholeness. The sacred feminine represents qualities such as receptivity, intuition, nurturing, creativity, and deep knowing. The sacred masculine represents qualities such as focus, direction, protection, manifestation, and clear action. Much of the suffering in individual lives and in the world at large comes from the imbalance or suppression of these principles. When the feminine is overemphasized without the masculine, there may be intuitive knowing without the ability to manifest it in the world. When the masculine is overemphasized without the feminine, there may be action without wisdom, achievement without fulfillment. Your spiritual journey involves learning to honor and integrate both of these principles within yourself. This integration is not about becoming androgynous, but about becoming whole. A woman can be fully feminine while also embodying healthy masculine qualities when needed. A man can be fully masculine while also accessing and honoring his feminine wisdom. This integration often requires healing wounds related to gender, power, and sexuality. Many people carry ancestral traumas related to the suppression of the feminine, the distortion of the masculine, or the painful separation of these principles from each other. As you heal these wounds within yourself, you contribute to the healing of these patterns in the collective consciousness. The relationship between spirituality and embodiment. True spirituality does not seek to escape from the physical world, but to transform it through the presence of awakened consciousness. Your body is not a prison for your soul, but a sacred temple through which your soul expresses itself. Your earthly life is not a distraction from spiritual reality, but the very arena in which spiritual realization unfolds. This understanding invites you to approach your physical existence with reverence and care. Your body's needs for rest, nourishment, movement, and pleasure are not obstacles to spiritual growth, but aspects of honoring the sacred vessel through which you experience life. Your emotions are not problems to be transcended, but energies to be understood and integrated. The integration of spirituality and embodiment also involves bringing spiritual awareness into all aspects of daily life. The way you eat, the way you work, the way you relate to others, the way you move through the world. All of these become opportunities for spiritual practice. There is no separation between sacred and mundane, There is only consciousness recognizing itself in all forms. This embodied spirituality is particularly important in our time, when many people are struggling with disconnection from their bodies, from nature, and from the earth itself. The healing of this disconnection is essential, not only for individual well-being, but for the healing of our relationship with the planet that sustains all life. The art of sacred relationship. Every relationship in your life, from the most intimate to the most casual, offers opportunities for spiritual growth and awakening. Sacred relationship is not about finding someone perfect or creating conflict-free connections, but about bringing consciousness, compassion, and authenticity to all your interactions with others. In sacred relationship, you see others not as objects to meet your needs or obstacles to your happiness, but as fellow souls on their own journey of awakening. You recognize that everyone is doing the best they can with their current level of consciousness and understanding. This doesn't mean accepting harmful behavior, but it does mean responding from wisdom and compassion rather than judgment and reactivity. Sacred relationship requires the courage to be vulnerable, to share your authentic self rather than presenting only the parts you think others will approve of. It requires the willingness to see and be seen, to love and be loved, despite the risks involved. It asks you to practice forgiveness, not as a way of condoning harmful behavior, but as a way of freeing yourself from the burden of resentment. The relationships that challenge you the most often offer the greatest opportunities for growth. The people who trigger your deepest reactions are often your greatest teachers, showing you exactly where you still have healing work to do. This doesn't mean you should seek out difficult relationships, but it does mean you can find value and learning in whatever relationships life brings to you. The mystery of suffering and grace. One of the deepest questions on any spiritual path is the meaning of suffering. Why do good people experience pain? Why do innocent beings endure hardship? Why does a loving universe allow trauma and tragedy? These questions have been contemplated by wisdom teachers throughout history, and while there may be no completely satisfying answers, there are perspectives that can bring some peace and understanding. From a spiritual perspective, suffering often serves as a catalyst for growth, compassion, and awakening. It breaks open the heart that has been closed by fear, strips away illusions that no longer serve, and reveals strengths and resources that might never have been discovered otherwise. This doesn't mean that suffering is good or that it should be sought out, but it does mean that it can be transformed into wisdom and compassion. Grace, on the other hand, represents the mysterious gift of unearned love, unexpected healing, and surprising support that appears in life, often when it is most needed. Grace cannot be demanded or earned, but can be received with gratitude when it appears. It reminds us that we are held by a love greater than our understanding and supported by forces beyond our perception. The interplay between suffering and grace creates the texture of human experience. Sometimes grace arrives to prevent suffering. Sometimes it arrives to transform suffering into wisdom. Sometimes it simply accompanies us through suffering, providing the strength to endure what cannot be changed. The practice of presence in daily life. While formal spiritual practices such as meditation and prayer are valuable, the ultimate practice is learning to bring presence and awareness into every moment of daily life. This means being fully here, fully now, fully engaged with whatever is happening rather than mentally elsewhere. The practice of presence transforms ordinary activities into opportunities for awakening. Washing dishes becomes a meditation on cleanliness and service. Eating becomes a practice of gratitude and mindfulness. Walking becomes a chance to connect with your body and the earth. Listening to others becomes an act of love and compassion. Presence is not something you achieve once and then maintain effortlessly. It is something you return to again and again, moment by moment. You will find your attention wandering into thoughts of the past or future, judgments about yourself or others, worries about what might happen, or regrets about what has happened. This is normal and expected. The practice is simply to notice when this happens and gently return your attention to the present moment. The cultivation of presence is perhaps the most radical spiritual practice available to us. because it challenges the habitual patterns of mind that keep us trapped in unconsciousness. When you are truly present, you are not defending yourself against life, trying to control outcomes, or seeking to be someone other than who you are. You are simply here, open and available to whatever is arising. The wisdom of impermanence. One of the fundamental insights of spiritual wisdom is the recognition of impermanence, the understanding that everything in the material world is constantly changing, arising and passing away in an endless dance of creation and dissolution. This includes not only external circumstances, but also thoughts, emotions, sensations, and even the sense of who you think you are. Initially, this recognition can be disturbing. The mind seeks stability and permanence, and the idea that nothing lasts forever can trigger anxiety and grief. However, as you deepen your understanding of impermanence, it becomes a source of great freedom and peace. If everything is temporary, then your current problems are temporary, your current pain is temporary, and your current limitations are temporary. Impermanence also means that you don't have to hold on to anything, not achievements, not relationships, not even spiritual experiences. You can enjoy them fully while they are present, without grasping at them or trying to make them permanent. This non-attachment is not indifference, but a deeper form of love that allows everything to be exactly as it is. The wisdom of impermanence also extends to your identity. The person you think you are, your personality, your beliefs, your preferences, your story about yourself, is also impermanent. This can be both terrifying and liberating. It's terrifying because it challenges your sense of solid identity, but it's liberating because it means you are not trapped by your past or limited by your current self-concept. The return to wholeness. Much of spiritual work involves remembering and reclaiming parts of yourself that were lost, suppressed, or denied along the way. These might be creative gifts that were discouraged, emotional expressions that were deemed inappropriate, dreams that were labeled unrealistic, or aspects of your personality that didn't fit others' expectations. This return to wholeness is not about becoming perfect, but about becoming complete. It's about integrating all aspects of your humanity, the light and the shadow, the strong and the vulnerable, the wise and the foolish. It's about accepting yourself as a complex, multifaceted being, rather than trying to fit into a narrow definition of who you should be. The integration of your shadow, those parts of yourself that you have rejected or hidden, is particularly important for spiritual maturity. What you resist or deny in yourself often gets projected onto others, creating conflict and separation. When you can own and integrate your shadow with compassion, you become more whole and more capable of authentic relationship with others. This process of integration is ongoing throughout life. As you grow and change, new aspects of yourself emerge that need to be acknowledged and integrated. This is not a problem to be solved, but a natural part of being a conscious, evolving being. The emergence of your unique gift. Every person comes into this world with unique gifts to offer, a special combination of talents, perspectives, experiences, and wisdom that no one else possesses in quite the same way. Discovering and expressing these gifts is one of the primary purposes of the spiritual journey. Your gifts may be obvious talents like artistic ability, teaching skill, or healing capacity, or they may be more subtle qualities like the ability to create peace in conflict situations, to see beauty where others see only problems, or to offer comfort to those who are suffering. Often, your deepest gifts emerge from your greatest challenges. The very experiences that seemed most difficult become the source of your ability to help others. The emergence of your unique gifts often requires letting go of who you thought you should be and embracing who you actually are. This can involve disappointing others' expectations, leaving familiar but limiting situations, and trusting in your own authentic expression, even when it feels risky or uncertain. Your gifts are not meant to be hidden or hoarded, but to be shared with the world in whatever way feels authentic and sustainable to you. This sharing may take the form of a career, a creative pursuit, volunteer service, or simply the way you show up in your daily relationships. The form is less important than the authenticity and love with which you offer your gifts. The dance of surrender and action. One of the great spiritual paradoxes is learning when to take action and when to surrender, when to apply effort and when to let go, when to push forward and when to wait patiently. This dance between surrender and action is one of the most sophisticated aspects of spiritual maturity. Surrender does not mean passivity or resignation, but rather aligning your personal will with the deeper intelligence of life itself. It means doing your part with dedication and skill while remaining open to outcomes that may be different from what you expected. It means working toward your goals while trusting that what is meant for you will come to you in the right way and at the right time. Action, from a spiritual perspective, is not driven by ego, fear, or the need to control, but by love, wisdom, and a desire to serve. It is action that flows naturally from your authentic self, rather than action that is forced or manipulative. It is action that considers not only immediate results, but long-term consequences for yourself and others. Learning this dance requires developing greater sensitivity to the subtle energies and rhythms of life. Sometimes you can feel when it's time to move forward, and sometimes you can sense when it's time to wait. Sometimes you know that action is called for, and sometimes you know that the most powerful thing you can do is to trust and allow. The legacy of your awakening. As you continue on your spiritual journey, you may begin to consider the legacy you want to leave, not necessarily in terms of material accomplishments, but in terms of the consciousness you embody and the love you share. What kind of energy do you want to contribute to the world? How do you want to be remembered by those whose lives you touch? This legacy is being created moment by moment through the choices you make, the love you offer, and the presence you bring to each situation. It's created through the healing work you do on yourself, which ripples out to heal others. It's created through the courage you show in being authentic, which gives others permission to be authentic as well. Your legacy may be quiet and unrecognized by history, but it is no less important for that. The kindness you show to a stranger, the patience you practice with a difficult family member, the forgiveness you offer to someone who has hurt you. These acts of love contribute to the healing of the world in ways that may never be fully known. As you mature spiritually, you may find yourself naturally becoming an elder in consciousness, even if you are young in years. Others may begin to seek your wisdom, find comfort in your presence, or be inspired by your example. This is not because you are perfect, but because you are authentic, integrated, and aligned with love. The continuing mystery. No matter how far you travel on the spiritual path, mystery remains. There will always be questions without easy answers, experiences that defy explanation, and aspects of existence that remain beyond human comprehension. This is not a failure of spiritual understanding, but evidence of the infinite nature of reality itself. Embracing mystery requires a kind of intellectual humility that can be challenging for the mind that wants to know and understand everything. It requires the willingness to live with uncertainty, to find peace in not knowing, and to trust in something greater than your personal understanding. This embrace of mystery can be deeply liberating. It frees you from the burden of having to figure everything out, from the pressure to have all the answers, and from the illusion that you can control the uncontrollable. It invites you into a more childlike wonder and curiosity about life. The mystery is not something to be solved, but something to be lived. Each day offers new invitations to go deeper, to love more fully, to trust more completely. The journey has no end because consciousness itself is infinite, always expanding, always discovering new ways to know and express itself. The eternal present. Ultimately, the entire spiritual journey brings you back to the eternal present moment, the only place where life actually happens, where love can be given and received, where peace can be found, and where your true nature can be experienced directly. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination, but life itself exists only now. In the present moment, all seeking comes to an end, because you recognize that what you have been seeking has been here all along. In the present moment, all problems dissolve, because problems exist only when the mind creates stories about what should be different than what is. In the present moment, you are already whole, already perfect, already home. This recognition of the eternal present does not end your human journey, but transforms it. You continue to grow, to learn, to serve, and to love, but you do so from a place of wholeness rather than lack, from presence rather than seeking, from love rather than fear. The message that has been coming to your home all along is the message of this eternal present moment. The message that you are already what you have been seeking to become, that you are already home in the love that you are, and that you are already perfect exactly as you are, while still continuing to evolve and grow. This is the surprising news that transforms everything, while changing nothing. You are already free, already loved, already whole. The journey continues, but it continues from this place of recognition, rather than from a place of seeking what you believe you lack. You are safe. You are loved. You are exactly where you need to be, and you are perfectly equipped for whatever comes next in this magnificent, mysterious, never-ending adventure of consciousness knowing itself through your unique and precious life. The archaeology of the soul. Your spiritual journey can be understood as an archaeological expedition into the depths of your own soul, carefully excavating layers of conditioning, belief systems, and inherited patterns to uncover the pristine essence that has always been your true nature. Like an archaeologist who must work with patience and precision, you must approach this inner excavation with care, reverence, and a willingness to encounter both treasures and artifacts that may initially seem disturbing or confusing. Each layer you uncover tells a story of your soul's journey through this lifetime and perhaps beyond. Some layers contain beautiful memories, moments of pure joy, instances of authentic connection, and experiences of transcendence that remind you of your divine nature. Other layers contain pain, trauma, disappointment, and the accumulated debris of living in a world that often seems to forget its own sacred nature. The process of this soul archaeology requires both courage and compassion. You must be willing to encounter aspects of yourself that you may have hidden away because they seemed too painful, too shameful, or too frightening to acknowledge. Yet you must also approach these discoveries with the same tender care you would show to a wounded child, understanding that everything you find has played a role in shaping the magnificent being you are becoming. As you excavate deeper, you may discover that many of the patterns and beliefs you thought were originally yours are actually inherited from your family lineage, your cultural conditioning, or even the collective unconscious of humanity itself. This recognition can be both liberating and overwhelming. Liberating because it means you are not personally responsible for carrying these burdens forever. Overwhelming because it reveals the vast web of interconnection that links your individual healing to the healing of generations past and future. The quantum nature of spiritual transformation. Modern physics has revealed that reality, at its most fundamental level, operates according to principles that seem to defy common sense. Particles can exist in multiple states simultaneously until they are observed. Energy and matter are interchangeable. Time and space are relative rather than absolute. These discoveries from the quantum realm offer profound metaphors for understanding the nature of spiritual transformation. Your spiritual growth operates according to similar quantum principles. You exist in multiple states of potential simultaneously. You are both the wounded child and the wise adult, both the seeker and the one who has already found what they were looking for, both limited and infinite. The act of conscious observation, of paying attention to your inner world with presence and awareness, causes these potential states to collapse into actual experience. This quantum understanding suggests that spiritual transformation is not a linear process of gradually becoming better or more enlightened, but rather a series of quantum leaps where new realities suddenly come into being. You may spend months or years working on a particular issue with seemingly little progress, and then suddenly experience a breakthrough that shifts everything in an instant. The implications of this quantum perspective are profound. It means that you don't have to wait for gradual improvement to experience dramatic transformation. It means that the very act of observing your patterns with loving awareness can cause them to shift. It means that possibility exists simultaneously with limitation, and your conscious attention determines which reality manifests. This understanding can help you approach your spiritual practice with both patience and expectancy. Patience because you recognize that the timing of quantum leaps cannot be forced or predicted. Expectancy because you know that at any moment, everything could shift in ways that surpass your wildest imagination. The symphony of your becoming. Your life can be understood as a magnificent symphony, with each experience, relationship, and challenge contributing its unique notes to the overall composition. Some passages are gentle and harmonious, like a peaceful meadow at dawn. Others are dramatic and intense, like a thunderstorm that shakes the very foundations of existence. Still others are mysterious and complex, weaving together themes that only become clear when viewed from the perspective of the complete composition. Like any great symphony, your life contains movements of different tempos and emotional qualities. There are allegro sections where everything moves quickly and energetically, periods of growth and expansion where opportunities seem to appear around every corner. There are adagio movements where time seems to slow down, inviting deep reflection and inner contemplation. There are scherzo passages filled with playfulness and joy, and there are more somber movements that invite you to explore the depths of your being. The beauty of a symphony lies not in any single note, or even any single movement, but in the way all the elements work together to create something greater than the sum of its parts. Similarly, the beauty of your life lies not in any single experience, but in the way all your experiences weave together to create the unique masterpiece of consciousness that you are becoming. Understanding your life as a symphony can help you appreciate even the difficult passages. The dissonant chords are not mistakes, but essential elements that create tension and release, depth and complexity. The quiet interludes are not empty spaces, but necessary rests that allow the more dramatic themes to have greater impact when they emerge. You are simultaneously the composer, the conductor, and the audience of this symphony. As the composer, you have the power to choose how you respond to the themes that life presents to you. As the conductor, you can influence the tempo and intensity with which you move through different passages. As the audience, you can learn to appreciate the beauty of the entire composition, even when individual movements challenge or confuse you. The sacred technology of the heart. While our modern world is fascinated with external technologies that can connect us instantly to information and people around the globe, there exists within each human being a far more sophisticated technology, the technology of the heart. This inner technology has the capacity to connect you not only to other hearts, but to the very source of love itself. The heart's technology operates on principles entirely different from mechanical or digital technologies. It functions through resonance rather than transmission, through presence rather than data, through love rather than logic. When your heart is open and aligned, it can perceive truths that the mind cannot grasp, receive guidance that comes from beyond rational thought, and transmit healing energy that can transform both yourself and others. Learning to operate this sacred technology requires a different kind of education than what most of us received in school. It requires developing emotional intelligence, intuitive awareness, and the capacity for deep empathy. It requires learning to distinguish between the voice of fear and the voice of love, between the demands of the ego and the guidance of the soul. The heart's technology also includes sophisticated feedback systems that can help you navigate life with greater wisdom and effectiveness. When you are aligned with your authentic path, your heart feels open, expansive, and peaceful. When you are moving away from your truth, your heart contracts, feels heavy, or becomes agitated. Learning to read these subtle signals can become a reliable compass for making decisions and choosing directions. This heart technology becomes even more powerful when it is networked with other open hearts. When two or more people connect at the level of the heart, a field of coherence is created that amplifies the wisdom and healing capacity available to everyone involved. This is why authentic spiritual community can be so transformative. It creates a network of heart connections that supports everyone's growth and awakening. The ecology of consciousness. Just as the natural world operates as an interconnected ecosystem, where every element affects every other element, consciousness itself functions as a vast ecology, where individual awareness is intimately connected to collective awareness. Your personal thoughts, emotions, and energy states ripple out into this field of consciousness, influencing others in ways that may never be fully visible to you. This ecological understanding of consciousness carries profound implications for how you approach your spiritual development. It means that the work you do on yourself is not purely personal, but contributes to the healing and evolution of the larger field of consciousness. When you heal a pattern of fear within yourself, you make it easier for others to heal that same pattern. When you embody a new level of love and wisdom, you raise the baseline of what is possible for all beings. This understanding can bring great meaning and motivation to your inner work, especially during times when progress feels slow or when you question whether your efforts matter. Every moment of choosing love over fear, presence over distraction, wisdom over reactivity contributes to the healing of the world in ways that extend far beyond your personal sphere of influence. The ecology of consciousness also means that you are constantly being influenced by the collective field, receiving both the wisdom of those who have walked the path before you and the challenges of the unhealed patterns that still exist in the collective. This is why spiritual practice often includes techniques for protecting and purifying your energy field, not out of fear or separation, but out of wisdom about how to maintain your own center while remaining open and compassionate to others. Understanding this ecological dimension of consciousness can also help you navigate the complex dynamics of living in the modern world. You can learn to consciously choose which energies you absorb and which you transform, which influences you allow into your field, and which you lovingly redirect. You can become a conscious participant in the ecology of consciousness, rather than an unconscious victim of its chaotic currents. The art of sacred timing. One of the most refined skills in spiritual living is learning to recognize and align with sacred timing, those moments when the universe seems to open doorways of opportunity, healing, or transformation. Sacred timing operates according to principles that are different from clock time or calendar time. It is more rhythmic than linear, more intuitive than logical, more organic than mechanical. Sacred timing reveals itself through synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem to indicate that you are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. It manifests through opportunities that appear just when you need them, people who enter your life precisely when their gifts are most needed, and insights that arise exactly when you are ready to receive them. Learning to recognize sacred timing requires developing a different kind of awareness than what most of us learned in our achievement-oriented culture. Instead of constantly pushing forward according to your personal agenda, you learn to sense the natural rhythms and cycles that govern the deeper movements of life. You learn to distinguish between the ego's impatience and the soul's natural timing. This attunement to sacred timing can transform the way you approach goals and desires. Instead of forcing outcomes according to your predetermined timeline, you learn to plant seeds with dedication while allowing the harvest to unfold in its natural season. You learn to prepare diligently while remaining open to opportunities that may appear in unexpected forms. Sacred timing also applies to healing and transformation. Certain insights can only be received when your consciousness has evolved to the point where it can hold them. Certain healings can only occur when all the necessary elements have aligned. Certain relationships can only manifest when both people have reached the level of maturity needed to create something beautiful together. Trusting in sacred timing does not mean becoming passive or fatalistic. It means becoming more skillful in your actions, more sensitive to the subtle currents of energy and opportunity, more aligned with the natural intelligence that orchestrates the dance of existence. The paradox of spiritual ambition. One of the most subtle challenges on the spiritual path is learning to navigate the paradox of spiritual ambition, the desire to grow and evolve while simultaneously accepting yourself exactly as you are in this moment. This paradox can create confusion and inner conflict if not understood and integrated with wisdom. On one hand, the impulse toward growth and evolution is natural and healthy. It reflects the soul's inherent desire to express itself more fully, to embody greater love and wisdom, to contribute more effectively to the healing of the world. This impulse motivates spiritual practice, inspires service to others, and drives the continuous expansion of consciousness. On the other hand, spiritual teachings consistently point to the importance of accepting what is, finding peace in the present moment, and recognizing that you are already whole and complete exactly as you are. This acceptance is not resignation, but recognition. Recognition that your essential nature is already perfect, and that all seeking is ultimately a return to what you have never actually lost. The resolution of this paradox lies in understanding that growth and acceptance are not contradictory, but complementary. You can fully accept yourself as you are, while simultaneously remaining open to becoming even more of who you truly are. You can find complete peace in the present moment, while still moving with dedication toward greater embodiment of your highest potential. This integration requires a subtle shift in motivation. Instead of seeking to become someone other than who you are, you seek to express more fully who you have always been, beneath the layers of conditioning and limitation. Instead of trying to fix what is wrong with you, you focus on uncovering and sharing what is magnificent about you. The paradox of spiritual ambition also teaches humility. The very desire to be spiritual can become a form of ego if not held lightly. True spiritual maturity includes the willingness to be ordinary, to make mistakes, to be human, while simultaneously touching the divine. It includes the understanding that enlightenment is not achievement to be attained, but a recognition to be embodied, moment by moment. The cultivation of wonder. In our world of information overload and constant stimulation, one of the most radical spiritual practices is the cultivation of wonder. The ability to approach life with fresh eyes, open heart, and genuine curiosity about the mystery of existence. Wonder is the natural state of the soul when it is not clouded by preconceptions, judgments, or the false familiarity that comes from thinking we understand more than we actually do. Wonder begins with the recognition that reality is far more mysterious and magnificent than our ordinary consciousness perceives. The fact that anything exists at all is miraculous. The fact that consciousness can contemplate itself is extraordinary. The fact that love can be felt and shared between beings is nothing short of magic. Cultivating wonder requires a willingness to question assumptions and remain open to being surprised. It means approaching familiar experiences as if encountering them for the first time. It means looking at the people in your life with fresh eyes, seeing not just their personalities and patterns, but the unique miracle of consciousness that each person represents. Wonder also extends to your own inner world. Instead of taking your thoughts, emotions, and experiences for granted, you can approach them with curiosity and appreciation. What is it like to have a thought? What is it like to feel an emotion? What is it like to be aware of being aware? These questions may seem simple, but they can open doorways to profound recognition and appreciation. The cultivation of wonder naturally leads to gratitude, not as a practice you impose upon yourself, but as a spontaneous response to recognizing the extraordinary nature of ordinary existence. When you truly see the miracle of a sunset, the gift of breath moving through your body, or the love shining in someone's eyes, gratitude arises effortlessly. Wonder also serves as an antidote to spiritual stagnation. When your practice becomes routine or your understanding becomes fixed, cultivating wonder can reintroduce the sense of adventure and discovery that makes the spiritual journey come alive again. The integration of polarities. Life presents us with countless apparent polarities: light and dark, joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability, independence and connection, action and rest, speaking and listening. One of the marks of spiritual maturity is learning to integrate these polarities rather than choosing sides or trying to eliminate one pole in favor of the other. Each polarity contains essential wisdom and energy. Light without dark becomes bland and undefined. Joy without sorrow lacks depth and appreciation. Strength without vulnerability becomes rigid and disconnected. The goal is not to live only in the comfortable poles, but to develop the capacity to flow gracefully between them as life requires. This integration of polarities is particularly important in relationships. Instead of seeking a partner who is always happy, always strong, or always certain, mature love appreciates the full spectrum of human experience and creates space for all of it to be expressed and received with compassion. The integration of polarities also applies to your relationship with yourself. Instead of trying to be consistently positive, endlessly productive, or perpetually peaceful, you can learn to honor the natural rhythms and cycles of your being. You can appreciate your times of introspection as much as your times of expression, your moments of uncertainty as much as your moments of clarity. This integration requires developing what some traditions call the middle way, a path that navigates between extremes without becoming stuck in rigid positions. It requires flexibility, wisdom, and the ability to respond appropriately to what each moment requires, rather than imposing a predetermined agenda. The sacred economics of energy. Every interaction you have involves an exchange of energy, emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical. Learning to understand and manage these energy exchanges with consciousness and wisdom is one of the most practical aspects of spiritual living. This sacred economics operates according to principles that are different from material economics, but equally important for creating sustainable patterns of giving and receiving. In sacred economics, the currency is not money, but life force itself. Attention, care, presence, love, creativity, and service. Like any economic system, it functions best when there is healthy circulation, fair exchange, and conscious stewardship of resources. When energy flows freely between giving and receiving, everyone is enriched. When it becomes stagnant or exploitative, everyone suffers. Understanding energy economics can help you make wiser choices about how you invest your life force. Some activities, relationships, and commitments energize you, adding to your overall vitality and capacity to serve. Others drain you, leaving you depleted and less able to show up fully for what matters most. Learning to distinguish between these different types of energy exchange is essential for sustainable spiritual living. This understanding also applies to receiving. Many people are comfortable giving energy, but have difficulty receiving it. This creates imbalance and actually limits your ability to give effectively. Learning to receive gracefully, whether it's help, compliments, gifts, or love, is not selfish, but essential for maintaining healthy energy circulation. The sacred economics of energy also includes the concept of energy hygiene, practices that help you maintain clear, vibrant energy fields. This might include meditation, time in nature, physical exercise, creative expression, or simply taking regular breaks from stimulation to allow your system to reset and recharge. The alchemy of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most profound and challenging practices on the spiritual path. It is also one of the most transformative, capable of transmuting the lead of resentment into the gold of freedom and peace. Understanding forgiveness as a form of spiritual alchemy can help you approach it with greater wisdom and effectiveness. True forgiveness is not about condoning harmful behavior or pretending that hurtful actions didn't occur. It is not about becoming a doormat or failing to establish healthy boundaries. Rather, forgiveness is about releasing the energetic charge that keeps you bound to painful experiences, freeing your life force for more creative and loving purposes. The process of forgiveness often happens in stages, like the stages of alchemical transformation. First comes the recognition of what actually happened, without denial or minimization. Then comes the feeling of the emotions that arise: anger, hurt, betrayal, grief. These emotions are not obstacles to forgiveness, but essential elements that must be acknowledged and honored before they can be transformed. The next stage involves understanding, not necessarily understanding why the harmful actions occurred, but understanding the cost of carrying resentment and the benefits of letting go. This understanding often includes recognizing how holding on to anger hurts you more than it hurts the person who caused the original injury. The final stage is the actual release, the moment when you consciously choose to let go of the demand that the past should have been different. This release is not a one-time event, but often requires repeated choices to forgive as memories arise and triggers occur. Forgiveness is ultimately an act of self-love, though it often benefits others as well. When you forgive, you reclaim your power from the past and make your life force available for creating a more beautiful future. You free yourself from the prison of resentment and open your heart to receive the love and goodness that are always available in the present moment. The emergence of authentic leadership. As you mature spiritually, you may find yourself naturally becoming a leader, not necessarily in formal or recognized ways, but in the quiet, powerful way that authentic presence influences others. This leadership is not based on external authority or personal charisma, but on the magnetic quality of genuineness, integrity, and embodied wisdom. Authentic leadership emerges when you stop trying to be who you think others want you to be and start expressing who you actually are. It arises when you speak your truth with courage and compassion, when you make choices based on your deepest values rather than external expectations, and when you remain centered in your own truth while remaining open to learning from others. This kind of leadership is not about having all the answers or being perfect in your embodiment of spiritual principles. In fact, authentic leaders are often those who are most honest about their own struggles, most willing to admit when they don't know something, and most committed to continuous learning and growth. Authentic spiritual leadership includes the willingness to serve others' growth and awakening, not from a position of superiority, but from recognition of the shared journey that all souls are taking. It involves creating spaces where others feel safe to explore their own truth, express their authentic voice, and discover their unique gifts. This leadership may manifest in many different forms, as a parent guiding children, as a friend offering support during difficult times, as a colleague modeling integrity in the workplace, or as a community member contributing to positive change. The form is less important than the quality of presence and love that you bring to whatever role you play. The dance of solitude and community. The spiritual journey requires a delicate balance between solitude and community, between the inner work that can only be done alone and the sharing and support that can only happen in relationship with others. Understanding when to seek solitude and when to seek community is one of the artistic aspects of spiritual living. Solitude provides the space for deep listening, for encountering yourself without the distractions and reflections that come from being with others. In solitude, you can hear the subtle voice of intuition, process experiences at your own pace, and connect with the source of wisdom and love that exists within you. Regular periods of solitude are essential for maintaining your connection to your authentic self. Community provides the mirror, challenge, and support that can accelerate your growth in ways that solitude alone cannot. Other people reflect back to you aspects of yourself that you might not see clearly on your own. They offer different perspectives that can expand your understanding. They provide the opportunity to practice love, forgiveness, and service in concrete ways. The dance between solitude and community is not static, but changes according to your current needs and the phase of growth you are in. Sometimes you may need extended periods of solitude to integrate new insights or heal from difficult experiences. Other times you may need intensive community engagement to challenge yourself to grow in new ways or to share gifts that are ready to be expressed. Learning to navigate this dance requires developing sensitivity to your own rhythms and needs. It requires the courage to ask for solitude when you need it, and the courage to reach out for connection when isolation has become counterproductive. It requires releasing both the addiction to constant stimulation and the attachment to always being alone. The revelation of sacred purpose. One of the most profound recognitions that can arise on the spiritual journey is the understanding of your sacred purpose, the unique way that your soul has chosen to contribute to the healing and evolution of the world. This purpose is not something you have to create or achieve, but something you gradually remember and embody as you become more aligned with your authentic nature. Your sacred purpose is written in the language of your deepest gifts, your most profound wounds, your greatest passions, and your most natural expressions of love. It often emerges at the intersection of what you love to do, what you're naturally good at, what the world needs, and what feels deeply meaningful to you. Sometimes, sacred purpose reveals itself through dramatic calling or clear vision. More often, it emerges gradually through a process of following what brings you alive, serving where you feel drawn to serve, and paying attention to the patterns of how your unique gifts want to express themselves in the world. Your sacred purpose may be quite different from what you imagined it would be, or what others expect it to be. It may not fit conventional categories of success or service. It may be more quiet and personal than dramatic and public, or it may surprise you by being more visible and influential than you ever thought possible. The revelation of sacred purpose often comes with both excitement and responsibility. Excitement because you recognize the deep alignment between who you are and what you're here to do. Responsibility because you understand that your gifts come with an obligation to use them in service of something greater than personal fulfillment. Living your sacred purpose doesn't mean that everything becomes easy or that you never face challenges. It means that your challenges become meaningful because they serve your growth and your capacity to contribute. It means that even difficult experiences become part of the unique medicine that you offer to the world. The eternal circle of giving and receiving. As your spiritual understanding deepens, you begin to recognize that giving and receiving are not separate actions, but different aspects of a single flow of love and energy that moves through all existence. This recognition transforms both your approach to service and your willingness to receive support and care from others. When you give from a place of authentic fullness, from overflow rather than obligation, you discover that giving actually increases your sense of abundance and connection. The love you share multiplies rather than diminishes. The wisdom you offer clarifies and deepens your own understanding. The service you provide enriches your own sense of purpose and meaning. Similarly, when you receive with grace and gratitude, you create space for others to experience the joy of giving. You honor their gifts by allowing yourself to be touched and changed by what they offer. You complete the circuit of energy exchange that allows love to flow freely between beings. This understanding can heal the imbalances that many people carry around giving and receiving. Some people give compulsively from a place of emptiness, trying to earn love or avoid guilt. Others have difficulty receiving because they don't feel worthy or because they don't want to be indebted to others. The recognition that giving and receiving are one movement allows both patterns to find balance. The eternal circle of giving and receiving extends beyond human relationships to include your relationship with nature, with the divine, and with existence itself. You receive the gift of life, consciousness, breath, beauty, and countless other blessings. You give back through your presence, your care, your creativity, and your contribution to the ongoing creation of a more loving world. Understanding this eternal circle can transform your entire approach to life, from one of scarcity and competition to one of abundance and collaboration. You begin to see that there is enough love, enough wisdom, enough opportunity for everyone to thrive. You begin to understand that supporting others' success actually enhances your own possibilities. The final recognition. As this extended exploration draws toward a close, the ultimate recognition emerges. The understanding that everything you have been seeking through spiritual practice, relationship, achievement, and experience has been present within you from the very beginning. The love you have been longing for is the love that you are. The peace you have been pursuing is your natural state when you stop fighting with reality. The wisdom you have been gathering already exists in the depths of your being. This recognition does not diminish the value of the journey you have taken or the practices you have cultivated. Rather, it illuminates them as expressions of the infinite creativity with which consciousness explores and celebrates itself. Every experience has been a perfect teaching. Every relationship has been a sacred encounter. Every challenge has been an opportunity for deeper embodiment of truth. The surprising news that has been coming to your home throughout this entire message is not information about external events, but recognition of the eternal reality that you are already whole, already free, already home in the love that is your deepest essence. This news arrives not through cosmic delivery services, but through your own willingness to stop long enough to recognize what has always been true. You are the love you have been seeking. You are the wisdom you have been gathering. You are the peace you have been pursuing. You are the light you have been following. The journey continues, but it continues from this place of recognition rather than from a place of seeking what you believe you lack. This is the message that transforms everything while changing nothing. This is the news that arrives in perfect timing when you are ready to receive it. This is the truth that sets you free to be exactly who you are while continuing to become even more of who you have always been. The adventure continues, the mystery deepens, and the love expands. You are safe, you are cherished, you are exactly where you need to be, and you are perfectly equipped for whatever magnificent possibilities await you in this ongoing dance of consciousness, knowing itself, through your unique and infinitely precious life.